Alright everybody, how's it going? It is Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. We're just one day away from the start of the regular season, and I've kind of been slacking on getting my predictions out, but I've been kind of busy with moving and getting ready for school, with school and everything, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm going to do all of them today, so don't worry about that. We have the AFC West to start off for today. It's going to be a marathon of uploads. There's 3 more of these coming, which will be the AFC North, NFC North, and then the AFC East and NFC East, and then of course the playoffs and then awards. So there's actually 4 more videos, just 3 total of these like division predictions, and then later this evening will be the awards and the playoff predictions. So sorry about that, bear with me. They'll all be out before the start of, at least way before the start of kickoff, and of course we'll be doing the game and yada yada yada. It's a busy week for me, sorry about that. But anyway, let's get started on these AFC West predictions. Of course, we already knew who won the South and the AFC and NFC. If you remember, we're doing AFC and NFC in the same video, so this is AFC and NFC West. So yeah, pretty much the same stipulations as last time. This is, nobody's really getting hurt. Everything's kind of ideal. So we'll see how it plays out. They have common opponents of the NFC East, AFC North. Of course, they play each other, and they play, I think, an NFC North team. Just like a random. It seems like those are they drew each other this year. I'm not really sure why that was, but hey, it happened. So this is what I think. I think the Raiders kind of come in last, and I think this might be the year that they finally decide to shit can the John Gruden, Mike Mayock situation. I just don't really know what that team is. I could be wrong about this one, but I don't know. I feel like the Broncos got a lot better. I feel like the Chargers are a lot better. And I feel like, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. So I don't know. It's kind of like, well, what about the Raiders? I can't point to a couple things that make them a substantially better team than they were last year. Maybe I'm just missing something with them, and I'm going to be dead wrong about the Raiders this year. But usually they're the team I like to pick as like my dark horse. Of all the teams that are in the AFC West, I kind of like the Raiders the most. Like the most. I have no use for the Broncos. I don't like them. The Chiefs, of course, they seem to be wanting to rival with the Patriots. Not really sure what that's about. And then of course there's also the Chargers, who I have no hate for them, but I don't really respect them. With the Raiders, I kind of like them. Historically one of those teams that are easy to like, but I don't think Gruden's the guy for this team. There's just nothing on that team that makes me think that they're going to be like this powerhouse team. They could win some games versus the East, but I think they'll get swamped out by the North. They could probably beat the Bengals. And then their division, they could wind up getting swept. Maybe take one versus the Broncos. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with them. I'm just not feeling them this year. They could prove me wrong. I don't know, but I'm just not feeling them this year. Denver Broncos, I think they improved from last year, but I still think they finish about like sub 500. I think there's too much uncertainty at the quarterback position right now. I think their defense is going to be very, very good. But again, I don't know if I trust the whole quarterback situation right now. Drew Lock really doesn't seem like he was the guy. I don't really think Teddy Bridgewater is the guy. I think he's a capable game manager, but are they going to have the team that can afford to have a game manager at quarterback? I'm not really certain that that's the case. And then if they have to get rid of Teddy for any kind of reason, say he's not performing well, they go to Drew Lock. It's just the same thing as the year before. And it's just like, well, what are they doing there? So again, a lot of quarterback uncertainty, but if they had that more settled down and figured out in Denver, I would probably pick them to finish in second in this division. Maybe even contend for a playoff spot with how good their defense is. But right now with this team, I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know what that offense is going to look like. It's kind of like with the Raiders. I just don't know what they're going to look like on offense or defense. They're kind of like they're very streaky. They're inconsistent, the Raiders are. The Broncos feel like on offense they can be a very streaky and consistent team. Defensively, I think they're going to be back to form with Vaughn and Chubb and that much improved secondary. But again, I think they're going to lose a lot of close games, like a lot of 14-21 type games that just come back to burn them late in the season or early in the season. They just they win some games early, then they can't win late, or they can't win early and then they win a bunch of games late. And it's one of those two that's going to happen for them once they get it all figured out with their offense. But until then, it's going to be weird for them. Or if they come out early good on offense, I think it might slip up late in the season and then you see the 10 losses. And that's really not a shot at Denver. I know it's the quarterback thing's been weird for them for so long. Like ever since Manning, they just have not been able to figure that out. It's really weird that they just cannot figure that out. But yeah, that's what I think. I don't know. Again, it's not really. I'm not trying to take shots at any of these teams. It's just kind of like what my brain is telling me might happen this season. I think the Chargers figure it out. I think if they can stay healthy, this is a team that could be a borderline playoff team. I'm not really trying to leak who I think is in the playoffs this season, but we'll get there when we get there. I think the Chargers will be much improved. I think they kind of stumble out of the gate, which explains the 7 losses and the 10 wins. I think they might stumble for the first few weeks of the season because, again, everything's new. They have a new coach, new system, new everything. I do think they'll be capable of handling it, especially at the quarterback position. But again, that might take a few games to get used to, and they play in a tough division where while I don't think the Raiders and Broncos will be particularly like winning teams, I think they'll be tough teams to play, and I do think they could possibly beat the Chargers or be one of the upsets on the Chiefs. Especially since it's all divisional and stuff like that, I could see the Chargers having some issues in division. But again, I think their defense is going to be next level, and once everything kind of clicks and they get going, the rust is kicked off. Guys like Derwin James, and they kind of get going because they sat a lot of guys in the preseason as well. So once everybody kind of gets the rust broken off and they get going after about week 3, week 4, I see this team as a pretty solid team that wins about 10 games. They're a double-digit win team to me. They're at least above 500, so I think at worst they're 9-8. Like that, I really can't see the Chargers finishing worse than 500 or under the 500 mark this year. So because there is no 500 17 games, that's pretty cool. So that's also the fun part. You can't pick anyone to go 500. It's been this is a tough predictions for teams' records this year. I'll tell you what. You're sitting here trying to figure out like, man, I wish I could do 500 records right now because I'd be putting half of these teams at 500. Oh boy. But yeah, like the Broncos, I probably would have put it more closer to 500. But like, I don't know, 7-9, would have been a much easier record. But 7-10 now. But yeah, I like the Chargers going 10-7. I think Herbert has a pretty solid year. I don't really see much of a rookie or a sophomore slump coming. But again, we all know who's winning this goddamn. Most of this is useless for this because it's like, well, who do you think's winning the AFC West? The NFL sweetheart team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Unless their whole line just sucks and their whole offensive line experiment just failed, which I doubt it did, then like, what are they just gonna be a bad team all of a sudden? I doubt it. This is their division to win. They pretty much they should just get the title. But then, you see how they play in the playoffs. But again, I see a few losses early in the season for them and maybe one late. So I could see them actually losing to Cleveland right away. And then just losing a random game and then one late to possibly a division game. Or 2 division games even. And I see that because like their division knows them the best. I could see the Chargers actually pulling an upset on them with a fully healthy defense, even with Mahomes playing. And I could also see the Raiders doing it again, and I think the Browns might beat the Chiefs. That's who I think the 3 losses actually probably will be for Kansas City. But other than that, they'll probably beat everybody else. Like it's just like who are they gonna lose to? Maybe the Packers. That's actually gonna be a pretty good game. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, that's the AFC West. I don't have much to say about the Kansas City, but they're gonna win it, obviously. So yeah, that's the AFC West. Not a whole lot to debate here, I don't think. Records could vary, of course, but that's kind of how I think it plays out in this one. Of course, Raiders fans, don't be too upset, please. All right, let's go on to the NFC West. Yeah, this is going to be probably one of the best divisions of football. I don't see one team finishing sub 500. And again, if you finish last in this division, you're probably like second or third in most other divisions. So that's kind of like it's like 3 teams from this division could make the playoffs if we're being very honest. NFC North, the NFC West, and AFC South are their common opponents. Obviously, the West is. And they play an AFC North team for their like random whoever the hell team. Is what I seem to notice. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I seem to notice. I think the Cardinals, though they're going to be much improved, finish above 500 and look pretty good for most of the season. I do think they're going to be a 9-8 team and finish in 4th in this very, very good division. The reason I do think that they slightly fall off toward the end of the season is, again, something I'm usually dead right about with the Cardinals is they're an older team. They're a very veteran heavy team. Like JJ Watt's there. You've got all. It's just, it seems like guys like go there and then retire within a couple seasons. It does seem like they're like a retirement home for players, and they keep an older roster. So you kind of seen it last year when they started out like they couldn't be stopped, and then by like week 10 they weren't winning anymore. So 9-8, I feel like they fall off toward the end of the year, and I think they also have to contend with the NFC West. They have to play the North, which has 2 good teams, maybe 3 depending on the Bears, and I don't know. It's not that I think that Arizona's bad. It's just like, because they're 9-8. It's just I think that the veterans on their team are going to tucker out. It seems like that happens to them quite often. But again, they also, like, in this division, it's so weird because it's like all these teams have the potential to win this division and be a very good football team. So it's kind of hard to tell, but you can only go with what you know. And it seems like, I still have questions about how good the Cardinals' offensive line is going to be. I know they've made some improvements to it. Let's see how good those improvements actually are. Great receiving core, great running game, great quarterback, pretty good defense. It's just that, it's older. And I have questions about, the offensive line. So that's why I'm kind of like, I see a late season kind of fall apart again. We'll see if that holds true, though. So third place, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Kind of a similar situation to the Cardinals. I don't know how, like, the longevity, because they kind of started out white hot last year and just kind of dipped and then came back, and then like Russ was on that MVP pace, and then it looks like he just got exhausted for carrying that team so hard on his back. So again, they're much improved in certain spots. Like, I want to see how much improved the offensive line is, especially in this division. You need to have good offensive line play for the Cardinals and Seahawks. That's why I have them third and fourth. I really wouldn't fret if you're a Seahawks fan about being in third place in this division. Again, I very much think that all 3 of the top teams in the NFC West make the playoffs. Again, just kind of pay attention to records and you'll figure it out as this goes. What I think. So Seattle, still very good team. Going to be very tough to play. They're going to win a lot of games with their offense. I have questions about how good the defense and how solid it is. You kind of look at it and you're like, they're going to have to score 30 a game. But then you look at the receiving core and you're like, oh, they can score 30 a game with probably not very little effort. DK, Tyler Lockett. I think they have another receiver and another good receiver. They're what you would. They drafted that kid out of Western who's very fast. I wanted the Patriots to get him very bad. I've seen him play one game for Western against Central. I went, oh, he's so fast. Yeah, that was a good pick by them. So we'll see how that plays. I think they'll be very good on offense. And again, do I think they're a playoff team? I think they could be a playoff team, depending on how the rest of this plays out. But again, questions about their defense that could cost them, and I think their offensive line's pretty bad still. So it's going to be on Russ again. But again, Russ knows that. I don't think they're going to gas themselves as hard this year. But again, this division... Oh, so now we know who wins it. I should have waited. Obviously, it looks like the 49ers, 11-win team, probably make the playoffs, right? So if you're a 49ers fan, don't be too upset. The reason I have you guys not winning the division is the quarterback thing. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but I think your defense is so good, it really doesn't matter if you have game manager Jimmy in there until Trey's ready to take over, who's probably going to be a game changer, not a game manager. He's going to be a playmaker, not a game manager. So I don't know. I feel like there's going to be initial struggle right out of the gate for them. Just a lot of guys getting Russ knocked off, and we'll see how Jimmy Garoppolo plays. It's good that they got the Lions early because they can kind of get that out of there, and I think they'll win that game. But then they could struggle with certain other teams. I see and if Trey takes over, there could be a couple losses in there against really good teams like the Seahawks or the Rams or the Cardinals. They could struggle against certain situations if Trey does take the team over. So that's the reason. And Jimmy is kind of inconsistent up down with his abilities. So we're kind of. I do think they're going to be better as long as everyone stays healthy and they're not cursed by the injury shit again this year, because that was just unlucky last year. Everybody went down in one game. So as long as that doesn't happen, they'll still be very good. They were like a decent competitive team last year despite having nobody. So watch out for the Niners. They're going to be a playoff team. I can't even, like, they're 11 wins, 6 losses. Yeah, they're a playoff team. They're not winning the division, but they're in. I'll leak that one. They're in. So, I mean, watch out for them. Their defense is going to be gnarly. Their offense is going to be, the run game is going to be gnarly, but the quarterback situation is kind of a question mark right now. So I can't really be too confident, but yeah, I fully bought in. I think Matthew Stafford's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Thought that ever since he was a Lion. I know I've been making jokes about him, and whatever, that he's not too good, that the Lions weren't too good against teams over 500. Yeah, his record against them isn't great, but it's also like, well, man, he'd be down like 4 touchdowns in the first quarter. How the fuck is that his fault in any capacity? So I don't know. We'll see how the Rams play. I think in that McVay offense, a super styled offense that's going to be super tailored for Matthew Stafford's abilities, with all kinds of talent, Kupp, Woods, good running game, pretty good offensive line, good to great defense. I don't know how you want to classify. I would say it's a great defense for the Rams. They're a complete team. They have a really good quarterback now who can win games. He's very good in the clutch moments, very good at comeback wins. Rams are going to be a tough-ass team to play. I think they could go undefeated at home. Especially since they're going to have fans back. We're going to see, I think, the emergence of Matthew Stafford. And I think with this finish, I think Stafford might contend for an MVP award. If they actually finish like this and Stafford plays anywhere near Jared Goff levels a couple years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, they'll give Stafford an MVP. He's such a media darling right now, and I'm totally rooting for Matt right now. I hope this happens for him. So that's what I think for the NFC West. I think the records could vary, but I think this is some kind of variation. Third and fourth can. This is the hardest division to predict because every team is really good, so it's hard to find faults. It's like Cardinals O-line, questions of age and longevity ability. Seahawks O-line, defense. 49ers quarterback. Rams, I don't know. How's Stafford gonna look in a new team? All right, I'm gonna get out of there so you can't see the rest of the predictions. But all right. So that's the AFC and NFC West. I hope you enjoyed the predictions. Let me know what you think down below. How do you think the AFC West and NFC West shake out? Again, these are my predictions. At the end of the day, I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how those will turn out. I'm fairly confident. So, someone's gonna be like, "You're only fairly confident. Why would you make them?" It's like, well, if I 100% knew, like, that wouldn't be very fun. I don't know. That's what predictions are for, dummy. But anyway, all right, let me know what you think down below. Just leave your comments. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Leave a like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and it helps grow the channel, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, the season starts in just a day. I can't believe it. All right, AFC North and NFC South coming straight up. And I hope you enjoyed this and have a good rest of your day, night, whenever you watch this. And peace out. I'll see you later very soon. Bye-bye.